Drake Maye is sweeping the nation. May fever, if you will, is sweeping the NFL world. And one of the guys feeding into it is Dan Orlovsky. He had some big Drake Maye hot takes this morning on ESPN. We'll get to that in a second. But clearly, over the last few weeks, it feels like people are noticing Drake Maye more, which is fascinating to me, not because it's not unwarranted. It is warranted. I've come on here and say how much I've loved Drake Maye the last few weeks, but they're playing at noon every week and they're losing more often than they're winning. They're 3-8. And here's Jayden Daniels, who's playing some, national games, and he's winning. Their team is on pace to go to the playoffs, and he's still getting his flowers, but it's almost like we've moved on from that. It's like, okay, Jayden Daniels is going to win Rookie of the Year. We know. Like, he's good. And Drake Maye is now catching the eyes of a lot of analysts and therefore being pushed on social media and all of that. And I think one of the big reasons as well with this Maye fever is that Caleb Williams is not playing well. And Drake Maye did beat him head-to-head. Although Caleb got them in a position to win the game against the Packers last week. The rest of the Bears can F it up, but he got them in a position to win that game. But the 3 or 4 weeks before that, he was not playing very well. He was not accurate. It seemed like veteran leaders on that team were getting a little upset, and obviously got his OC fired. Drake Maye has not done that. Jayden Daniels has not done that. So this morning on Get Up on ESPN, they made Dan Orlovsky redraft the quarterbacks, all but J.J. McCarthy. They said that was unfair. So they're going to have him redraft the quarterbacks, and Drake Maye got a little bit of a bump.
I would take Drake Maye at number 2. I am fascinated with how well he has played. If you're in New England, you got to be freaking giddy about this kid. He is doing more with less. The thing that has been, I guess, most surprising is how little he misses. The accuracy is significantly better than I expected. He's made plays with his legs. I think he's got 2 missed throws in the last 2 weeks. The only thing I care about in New England right now is who's going to be that big-time receiver addition. Okay? This is where I wrestled at 3 and 4 because Drake Maye almost went number 1 for me.
Drake Maye almost went number 1 for me. He was ready to put him over Jayden Daniels. And the thing that surprises me the most, and it's been a pleasant surprise, obviously, as a Patriots fan, is kind of what he was talking about there. He said he missed 2 throws in 2 weeks. So the thing that has surprised me the most is how ready he was to step into this. Everyone was saying how raw a prospect he was, and you watched his film in college, and there was a lot of plays where you're like, that's just not going to work in the NFL. Drake Maye cannot win purely on, this talent, throwing it off his back foot, throwing it off platform, and fitting it into tight windows for receivers in the NFL. You can do that in college. You can do that in the ACC. You can do that at high level of college football. It's not going to work in the NFL. He was a true gunslinger coming out, project, took a lot of chances that just weren't going to work in this league. And then he gets his opportunity, and he's not doing that. He is somehow, with the worst offensive line and the worst weapons by far of any rookie quarterback, has made that all work. And somehow, with that arsenal around him, he is looking good. Not just not bad, not just, okay for a rookie. He is looking good. I think this guy has the potential to be a top 5 quarterback in the league down the line here. I really do. I see the plays he makes, the plays he extends. I watched a lot of amateur film on him yesterday and this morning. And everyone is raving, Colt McCoy being one of them, longtime quarterback in the NFL, one of my personal favorites. Is just raving about the stuff he's doing at the line of scrimmage and what he's noticing at the line of scrimmage and comparing it to other rookie quarterbacks who aren't noticing it and plays getting blown up. That, to me, that's what we saw in that Hard Knocks clip a few months ago when Brian Daboll has him in the room with the Giants trying to, dissect these plays and what the play call is going to be, what the hot routes are going to be, and Drake Maye's just throwing it all back at him. And they asked Jayden Daniels the same thing, and they're like, okay, what's the throw going to be? Or what's the play going to be? What do we want you to do here? And he goes, throw a touchdown. and they kind of laugh at it. But like Drake Maye is throwing everything back at them, just with a little bit different terminology from what he was used to in college. Which leads me to believe, by the way, that Brian Daboll was probably ready to move on from Daniel Jones. I mean, I actually have, probably because he's a Belichick guy, I have a lot of respect for Daboll and his offensive mind. And I just think he's been hamstrung with Daniel Jones the last few years. And that if he could have taken Drake Maye, or if Drake Maye had fallen to whatever, 4 or 6 or wherever they picked, they would have taken him. Which will lead me to have a segment sometime in the next few weeks about how Brian Daboll, when he gets fired by the Giants this year, will be the next Patriots OC, God willing. But clearly Drake Maye is starting to impress a ton of people. They also had someone else on the panel that they were asking about the redraft, and Dan Orlovsky picked him to go number 2 on the redraft. My man Larry has an even better prediction for him in the redraft.
Right now, if you were drafting them, Harry, would you agree with this order?
Yeah, I like that order, and I will tell you this about Drake Maye. Drake Maye has the most upside of everyone on that list right there. Because of the prototypical body, the strength, he has the ability to run the football, pass the football. So I really like him, and as he progresses, he might be the best quarterback of this class when it's all said and done.
Might be the best quarterback of this class. Has the biggest upside of them all. Did anyone think we would be saying this halfway into year 1 of the Drake Maye project? Did anyone think we would be saying that a month and a half ago, when there was still this infighting and debate on whether you could even put him out there? He is turning all kinds of heads. And it was not that long ago, whatever it was, 6 weeks ago, that we were saying, oh, you can't put him out there yet. You need to keep rolling with Jacoby Brissett. That so much has changed since then. And again, I've said it every week, it bugs the crap out of me that the Patriots couldn't put anything around him this year, anything around him. Because Jayden Daniels has a team that can get to the postseason. Caleb Williams, on paper, had a team that could get to the postseason. Drake Maye, weirdly enough, the 3rd pick behind these other 2 guys, had by far the worst situation. By far. First-time NFL head coach, a pretty new play caller, offensive coordinator, and Alex Van Pelt. He's done the quarterbacks coaching thing, but really only called plays the last few years in Cleveland. And no offensive line, no wide receivers to speak of. You had a 2nd-round pick from 2 years ago that they already cut at wide receiver. You have a 2nd-round pick from this past year who can't stay on the field because he can't give you anything positive. And here's Drake Maye impressing the hell out of everybody. It's got to put a ton of pressure in that owner's box and in that GM office and in the coaching offices. You've got to get this thing right. What you have been handed is the gem. You went out and got that gem, don't get me wrong, but you've got a gem here. You have got a potential top-of-the-line NFL quarterback in the next few years on a rookie contract. Please, please, Patriots, do not mess this up. Do not mess this up. I can't believe how quickly he has come on and has completely changed this team and the attitude around this team and the attitude in the stands at Gillette. For decades, we didn't do the moral victory crap. And we still don't like that as Patriots fans. But there's legitimate hope here. And it makes that report from Evan Lazar 6 or 7 weeks ago all the more believable. Remember that report? Evan Lazar said there's a mutiny in the Patriots locker room because they keep starting Jacoby Brissett. These guys saw the progression every day. And now that makes a ton more sense of why they were mutinous, because they knew how good this kid could be. And it's playing out in front of us week after week after week. It's like they've already pushed aside the Jayden Daniels thing. And they're on to the Drake Maye, the new toy, right? The Drake Maye train. And I gotta credit Mike Debate as well. We had Mike Debate on here in the preseason when people were talking about how this Mike Debate from Locked On Patriots, by the way, We had Mike on preseason when everyone was talking about how they wanted Joe Milton more. They wanted to see more Joe Milton because he can throw it far and he's big. And Mike said on here, he said, I really think Drake Maye has the highest upside of any of those 3 quarterbacks taken. And now he's got national pundits agreeing with him and plenty of people around the league agreeing with him. And I've watched a good bit. I've watched like 3 or 4 games of Jayden Daniels this year. I think this kid's like legit. I think he's going to be a good player in this league. Pretty good quarterback. Still not sold on Caleb Williams. And very high on the upside of Drake Maye. I mean, as someone who's watched every snap he's taken, I cannot be more excited about Drake Maye. It's a world of difference from Mac Jones. Mac Jones, whom I also was excited about. This is not revisionist history. I loved Mac Jones coming out, and I loved him in that rookie year. But all the things that you said about Mac Jones, right? Command of the huddle, not making stupid plays, commitment to winning and football, not having much of a personality, being a good leader, all of those things, Drake Maye also has, and then has the skill as well. The skill that Mac Jones just doesn't have. He can thread it through a needle. I mean, he can hit those long bombs. He can make something out of nothing with his legs that Mac Jones could never do. He can get out of the pocket. He can extend plays in the pocket. He can throw with a dirty pocket, which Mac Jones did not have great success with. He can beat man coverage, which Mac Jones never could really do. Mac Jones was a touch guy, zone coverage, find the soft spot in the zone. Drake can do it all. He can beat man coverage with his arm. We've seen it in the last 6 weeks. So all the upside that Mac Jones had, Drake Maye has it too, but with a lot more talent. I don't know how you can't be super excited about this going forward. I have already sent my Mac Jones jersey into some company in Philadelphia to replace the nameplate on the back to go from Jones to Maye. It is going to be Maye all year long with the Patriots. Golly, can you tell I'm excited, Zach? I can't wait. He's like doing these things that like hitting these numbers in games that people haven't done since Brady. And again, I've been so impressed with his poise, which is something that you just didn't think with his poor footwork and all the rawness of him. You wouldn't think he'd be very poised. He'd throw it off like Zach Wilson was. He'd get flustered. He'd throw it off platform. He would throw off the wrong foot. His footwork would be terrible. That has been like solved already. He had a throw in the first half of that game against the Rams that was on like a 3rd and 7, and they had a safety blitz. And so Drake identified that part of the field that was going to be open because the safety was blitzing, and the Patriots really didn't pick it up, the blitz. And he's got a dirty pocket. He's got guys coming on either side, either shoulder. And he stands in there, footwork perfect, does not get rushed, delivers a freaking dime to Pop Douglas, who is in that space. First down, drive stays alive. That is not something that most rookies can do. It's not something that Mac Jones was able to do consistently. And it makes me go back to try and find those tweets and those posts about how great Joe Milton was and how the Patriots could use Bailey Zappi right about now. It's all bullshit. So I want to go back to Ben Volen specifically saying in training camp, you can't tell which one was the first round pick and which one was the flyer they took on the 6th round. Joe Milton is inactive every week. Drake Maye might be the best quarterback in this rookie class. Trolling Volen at it again. Boy, I can't wait to highlight that tomorrow.
We are Rogue Media Sports.